I used to think the house was just old. Creaking floors, strange echoes, the way the walls seemed to breathe when the wind hit the right angle. Dad called it character. I called it home until he started digging. It began in the basement. One summer he came home with a pickaxe, a headlamp, and that glassy look in his eyes he only got when he talked about the old karst systems in the Nullarbor or the endless shafts under Mammoth Cave. We got limestone under us, Jamie, he said, tapping the concrete like it was already gone. Real cave. I can feel it. Mom laughed at first. Said he was having a midlife crisis with extra steps. But the laughter stopped when the jackhammer arrived. Then the wheelbarrows of broken concrete. Then the tunnel. He didn't stop at one passage. He kept going. Every weekend another room disappeared behind rough stone. The laundry became a narrow rift. The old wine cellar turned into a squeeze he called the crawl. He lined the walls with wire mesh and spray foam so they wouldn't collapse, but the foam looked wrong like pale skin stretched too tight. He named them like real caves, Misery Rift, Echo Drop, the Cathedral. He even put in battery-powered LED strips that flickered like dying stars. Mom started sleeping upstairs more. She said the dust gave her headaches. I started sleeping with earplugs because sometimes, late at night, I could hear him still working tap 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 like he was trying to reach something that was calling him back. Then Mom's business trip came up. 3 weeks in Melbourne for a conference. She kissed my forehead, told me to keep an eye on Dad, and left with her little rolling suitcase. I waved from the porch until the Uber disappeared. That was the last time I saw her in daylight. Dad got quieter after that. Not sad quiet. Focused quiet. He started spending nights down there. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. and hear the scrape of his boots on stone, the clink of carabiners, his low muttering about airflow and tight spots. Sometimes I'd stand at the new basement door, the one he'd framed with rough timber, and call down. Dad. A long pause. Then his voice, muffled and wrong, like it came through water. Down in the nave, kid. Come see the new room. I never went. Months passed. The house shrank. Hallways ended in crawl spaces. The kitchen still worked, but the fridge hummed next to a fissure that exhaled cold air smelling of wet rock and iron. I learned to step over ropes and helmets. I learned not to ask where the money came from for all the gear. I started hearing things. At first I thought it was rats. Scratching. A low, wet rasp. But it wasn't regular. It came in bursts, like someone trying to speak with a throat full of gravel. Always from the same direction, the far end of the cathedral, where Dad had broken through into what he called the big chamber. He wouldn't let me see it. Said it wasn't safe yet. One night I couldn't sleep. The scratching had turned into a slow, deliberate thump. Thump. Pause. Thump. Like someone tapping out SOS with a numb hand. I grabbed my phone's torch and went down. The basement door was open. Headlamp beams crisscrossed the dark like searchlights. I followed the main passage, ducking under low overhangs, squeezing past the spot he called the meat grinder because it was so tight your ribs ached. My heart hammered. The air grew colder, thicker, smelling of damp limestone and something sweeter, rotting fruit, maybe, or old blood. I reached the cathedral. The LEDs were off. I clicked my torch on. Dad was there, kneeling in the middle of the chamber, back to me. He was shirtless, skin pale and scratched. In front of him was a narrow vertical slot in the floor, barely wide enough for a person. He was talking to me. Soft. Loving. I'm here, love. I'm still here. My stomach dropped. Dad. He didn't T-turn. Just kept stroking the edge of the slot like it was skin. She is close now, he whispered. Almost through. I stepped closer. The smell was stronger, sweet rot, wet stone, copper. I pointed the light down. The slot dropped maybe 2 meters, then bent sharply right into darkness. But something was caught there, pale fingers curled around the protruding rock, nails split and black. A forearm, swollen, skin mottled purple and gray. Higher up, half visible in the bend, matted hair, the curve of a shoulder. The wedding ring on the 3rd finger glinted under my torch. Mom's ring. The thumping started again. Slow. Weak. Coming from inside the slot. Tap. 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 Dad finally looked at me. His eyes were bright, feverish. She took a wrong turn on the way back from the airport, he said, voice calm, like he was explaining traffic. Slipped in while I was digging the new bypass. I didn't know until the smell started. But she is still moving. She is strong. She'll make it through. He reached down and gently touched one of the fingers. I ran. I'm still running, in a way. I live upstairs now. Boarded the basement door shut. Dad still goes down. I hear him talking to her. Telling her stories about the house, about me, about how beautiful the formations are when the light hits them just right. Sometimes, very late, when the house is quiet, I hear the scratching again. Not from below. From inside the walls. And it's getting closer.